Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So my name's Katie and today I'm going to be talking about my favourite book characters that I've met in 2021. Forgot what year it was then. So yeah, I'm really excited for this video because obviously I'm a huge character focused reader, so characters are really what makes or breaks a book for me. And I've met some absolute all-time favourites this year, so I'm just really excited to gush about them in this video. So the first one I'm going to talk about, if I can find it, is the cast, you can't even see me, is the cast of the Age of Madness books, especially Leo, also Ricky and Savine. I was trying to choose one character per series, but I just can't. I have multiple characters from the same series in this video because I just can't choose one. I love them all so much. I think probably overall Orso is probably my favourite, but it's just so hard to decide. Yeah, so Orso is the prince character. He's this he is quite self-depreciating and he thinks he's a lazy layabout prince, but he has this heart of gold, and throughout the book he's just the I think he's too good for the first law world. I just love him so much, his cheek and his humour, and he's just the best, the best little prince ever. I love him, and his arc throughout the series is so it's so good and so heartbreaking at times, but also his scenes, he just always steals the show. And his little assistant type thing, Hildy, I love their dynamic so much. There's a kind of older little, yeah, he's taking under his wing this little orphan. I just love that dynamic, and they're hilarious together. And yeah, I just love Orso so much. And then Leo, Leo, loads of people don't like Leo, but I love him. He's this little repressed gay himbo. He was very repressed, very much in need of therapy, but I love him. He's so easily influenced, and then his arc throughout the series is also really interesting, I think, especially in Wisdom of Crowds. Yeah, I just love him. And then Savine is an absolute girl boss. She's so ruthless and powerful and sexy, and she's so good. She's very much this kind of society lady, but she has a lot of she's a very savvy businesswoman, that's what I'm trying to say. And she has a lot of power, and she's quite on the more evil side, but I just love her so much, and she's such a great character. She's one of my favourite female characters probably of all time. I just love her so much. She's so well written, she's so flawed, but she's just she's so good, and the journey she goes on as well is just so good. And then Ricky I also love. She's a North woman, and she's so feral and crazy, and also a girl boss, and I love her so much. And she's that kind of almost underdog type character who acquires the reins of power, and she's so good. I love her so much as well. And then I also love Vic, who's the sexy spy lady. Well, yeah, she's so good as well. I just love the whole cast. So yeah, they're some of my favourite characters that I've met this year. Yeah, I just love it. Okay. Then next, another basically entire cast of characters, because I couldn't choose. Let me find it. Well, actually it's all the women characters. Where is some of the characters from the Dandelion Dynasty? So first of all, Gia. I love Gia so much. She is an absolutely unhinged MILF in this book, and then an absolutely off the rails MILF in the Veiled Throne. Yeah, she's such a great character. Her sort of cunning and power, and her sort of goals, she's so driven towards her goals, and she doesn't care who she's going to trample on to get them. And yeah, she's just such a fascinating character. And yeah, in book one as well, she's sort of the power behind the throne for Cooney. Well, he's not on the throne. She's the power behind the revolution, I guess. And then in books 2 and 3, she's focused on this legacy and gathering power for herself, and it's just all so good, so juicy. She's so ruthless. I love her so much. And I really love actually Ken Liu's I think he does it especially in The Grace of Kings, because there's not that many female characters in that one, but he does it really well, and thinks of women and how they acquire power using their role in society, which I really like, because sometimes I feel like, I guess, dude bro-y authors in fantasy will write a female character just basically as a man but a woman, and I don't like that. I feel like it comes across really badly. Like, obviously I'm a big fan of Joe Abercrombie now after reading Age of Madness, but when I first read First Law, one of the characters, Pharaoh, she really annoyed me. Like, I hated her so much because she was basically just written as a male character but with a vagina, essentially. Well, which, I mean, obviously men can have vaginas, but like, I think you get the principle of what I'm trying to say. And it was just so frustrating. But then now Joe Abercrombie's like written some of my favourite female characters, so he's obviously progressed as a writer, but I think Ken Liu like nails it from the outset. Like, the women just know their own roles and they use them to like the best of their abilities, and it's just so satisfying to read. I love it so much. Yeah, so obviously Gia, and then I also really love Thera, who is Gia's daughter, and she is such a great character. Like, oh, I just love her. She's only really in books, well, she is a tiny bit in book 1, but she's mainly in books 2 and 3, and just seeing her arc, and I don't know why I love her so much, but she's just like a perfect character. I don't know, she's like so she's kind-hearted, but she's also really clever and like cunning, and just a really great ruler, and just I love her so much. I also love Zomi, we meet in book 2, and she's like a scholar. She's so good. Some of her like kind of, she's not like outwardly humorous, but like some of her sort of wit and stuff is just so good, and I love it when she like basically like rips CUNY to shreds in one of the scenes near the beginning of the book. Yeah, it's just so good. I love her so much as well. I mean, she's like not afraid to speak her mind, which I really like, and I always love scholar characters. And then Farah, who is mainly in the Veiled Throne, but I love her so much as well. Oh, she's just such like a sweet character, and she's like not letting the sort of darkness of the world sort of hinder her sort of naive optimism. And I mean, I'm sure she's gonna go through some pain in Speaking Bones, but I really like her and her sort of, again, drive and like will to do what's right and like succeed, and I just really love her so much as well. So yeah, I just love them all. They're all so good. Oh yeah, would highly recommend this whole series, but also like just the women. Oh, mwah. Yeah, so that's those characters, and then we also have obviously the Realm of the Elderlings, which I have journeyed through this year and absolutely loved, and some of my like all-time, I mean both of the characters I've spoken about so far are my all-time favourite characters, but also all-time favourite characters. So I think mainly, so before I read actually the Farseer trilogy, Fitz, Fool and Bee are like my ultimate, they're my favourites. I love them so much. Yeah, Fitz and the Fool just speak for themselves. Fitz, you've been on such a journey with him and like his character, and he's so like melancholy and like, oh, I just love him so much, and you just feel for him, you just want to give him a hug. And then the Fool is an absolutely fascinating character. I think one of the most well-written characters ever, just so good. And oh, and then Bee, I love Bee so much. She's just such a great character. She adds so much to the story, and I think because you've already had so much to Fitz, like when Bee comes in, it's really nice to get like a fresh perspective. And yeah, and then actually with the Farseer trilogy, I mean, I love Catrickon before, but I really, really love her in the Farseer books. Yeah, and also Lady Patience, who I'd also met before, but I hadn't quite realised how much I love her until reading these books. Yeah, so all of them. I think Patience needs her own like spin-off prequel with like the whole Patience Chivalry Burrich story, because I think there's some juicy gossip there to be had. But yeah, I love Patience. Yeah, I love them all. Fitz, just one of the greatest characters. Oh, and yeah, the Fool, just everyone. Oh, yeah. And Robin Hobb just has such a talent of like, even the characters that you don't love, you can like feel so strongly towards them. Like there is a certain character in the Rain Wilds who I just wanted to castrate. Yeah, and like Regal in these books, oh, I hate him. I think Hester's probably the worst, and then obviously Kenneth and Kyle in the Ship of Magic, I hate them. What's her name, the character in Fitz and the Fool, whose name I can't even remember, and like all the White Prophets, I just hate them all. So she's so good at like making you feel strongly for characters. Yeah, so obviously Realm of the Elderlings, Fitz, Fool and Bee are all-time favourites. I would like think about them so often. I just love them. The next we have, so really I read the Men Saga like not this year, so the kind of main characters in that series aren't really new characters that I've met, so I couldn't really include them in this list, although they are like all-time favourite characters. But the character that we sort of meet / get to know in Jade Legacy is Rue, who is Hilo and, is that a spoiler to say? No, I feel like it's not. Hilo and Wen's son, and I love him so much. He's such a great character. He like reminds me a bit of Bee in a way, and just the sort of feral, like I've had enough of the bullshit, I'm gonna go off on my own type energy, and I just love him. He's so cute. He's like this little cinnamon roll, but also like completely like feral, and oh, I just love him so much, and just you want him to succeed so badly, and like you're so proud of him, and oh yeah, so love Rue from the Men Saga. Yeah. And then we also have Rocky from Project Hail Mary, who is the cutest bean ever. Just everything. Oh, it's so hard to say too much because not to say too much, because I feel like Project Hail Mary is a book that you should read without knowing too much. But just know there is the cutest character who has some of the funniest lines and some of the funniest line delivery. Like there's this scene where one of the characters is trying to teach what a fist bump is, and then at one point he says fist me, and it's so funny, and then another time he's like fist my bump, and oh, I just love Rocky so much. Yeah, oh yeah, just the cutest little, yeah. Oh. And then also on the kind of sci-fi theme, Barrow from Velocity Weapon, who is a talking like AI spaceship who I adore. He's so funny. And there's sort of a bit of a twist in the series, and it just makes it so much better. Yeah, Barrow's so good. I love him so much. Yeah, I don't really know what to say other than he's so funny, and just the sort of, I love the whole AI, like sentient AI sort of thing, and like when they sort of realise they have like emotions, and oh, it's just so good. And I love the dynamic Barrow has with the other characters in the series, like some of it's so funny and it's so touching at times. And yeah, I just really love him so much, so yeah. Vargo from The Mask of Mirrors, I love Vargo. He's such like such a sleazebag. No, he's like very sort of charming and like slightly corrupt, but just so like lovable, and you just want to give him a hug, and like he's had a hard life, and just oh, and yeah, he's just so iconic, and just oh, I just love him. Like every time he's on the page, just steals the scene. And yeah, I'm not very good at coming up with adjectives to describe characters, but like he's just so yeah, like charming, and the banter he has with the other characters is so funny, and just oh yeah, I just love him. I don't know what else to say. Yeah, so I'd highly recommend reading the Mask of Mirrors series just for Vargo. I mean the other characters are great as well, but Vargo is chef's kiss. So yeah, so I'm sure there's some other characters that I've met this year that I loved and I've just forgotten to mention completely, but I will leave it there for now. I've done rather a lot of gushing. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments a character that you've met this year who you loved. I'd really love to know. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and consider subscribing if you haven't already. And I hope you're all having a really great day, and I'll see you next time.